The difference here is this is a harness for a coupe, and this is a harness for a Targa. What we have here are interior harnesses for the early 911, 912, late 64 to 68. The difference here is this is a harness for a coupe, and this is a harness for a Targa. The reason I've got them both laid out here is just to show the differences. So every one that I've ever seen on the coupe is sheathed, and this is a new one, by the way. And this is an original one. This one's taped, so you can see that they've taped it instead of put sheeting on it. Why Porsche did that, I don't know, but that's just the way they did it. So if you get one from me, it'll be exactly like that. All right, so we're gonna put this one in this car because I don't have a Targa, but I'll talk about how the Targas go in, but this is what we're gonna do right now. Now we're gonna look at just the coupe harness. If you'll notice, there's part of it that has two blacks and two browns that go into it. So this is the part that goes to the passenger side light. And then there's this offshoot, and then one of them is longer than the other. So the short offshoot, get this over there, this short offshoot goes, this is what goes down the pillar. This is what ends up in the trunk area. And then the long one is what snakes over underneath the rear view mirror by the windshield and comes out over on the driver's side. And then these little guys would hook into their corresponding little parts on the light, like this. And then that one would go on there. All right. And that's the way it's going to end up looking in the car. So we're not going to do that right now because I'm not ready to do that on this car, but that's the way they would hook up. The same thing on the other side. The difficult part about doing the interior harness is getting it routed through the pillar that goes right here. So the wires go down through this pillar and they come into the front and they come out, and excuse the camera angle, but that's the only way you're going to see this little thing. So they come out that little hole right there. So if you can see that. What I do is I take some tape and I wrap it around the two wires that are going to go up in the pillar here, and just to make them tight and keep them together so that they don't get all bunched up while they're going down in there. And then you just feed them down in, and you start to feed it down, and it goes down the pillar. So then I'll show you the video of it popping out. You'll see it here in just a second down there. So you got to play with it a little bit sometimes, but then you'll feel it go through. Let me show you what that looks like on the other end. So you just push it down in there, and then it'll start to go up into the front, and then you'll literally see it start poking through. And sorry about the camera angle. There's just no easy way to get a camera up in there and show that, but you can see it starting to come through. But there she is coming through right there. So reach up in there, grab it, pull it a little bit. Let's see. You can bring it underneath this guy right through here. And that's about it. That's where it ends up at. So you'll end up taking the tape off, and your at the end of the harness, on the main harness coming over from the gauges, will be a black and a brown that will correlate with that. So just plug into that, and there you go. It's doing some freestyling with the camera, but you can see where it's now up in there, and you've got this piece coming off here. It's going to go over to these lights, so they would just feed in behind there. There is a little hole in there that they want to poke through. Here we are trying to get them through that little hole. Just got to do them one at a time. All right, and pull them through. Give yourself some slack, like that. And then you would want to connect your light to that. Of course, you'd want to have your headliner and everything in. This is by no means ready to have that done yet, but your light would hook in right there. Then you are going to take your long piece and it's going to come over into these little clips right here. So they're just going to come along the front of the car. You're going to hook them in all the way across, like so. And then they're going to come over to this one and you're going to do the same. You're going to run that wire through that hole right there. And that's how you put an interior harness in. Now we'll talk about the Targa one. I'll just give a generalized view of it since we don't have a Targa. So in the Targa, the cable's going to run down through here and there's these little clips and it goes over the bar, but it would run, this being the passenger side, it runs down here and along in here they have clips. I know they have one right here and they may have one over here, but it ends up running up in here and it goes through this hole right here, which goes up into the front trunk. So that's how it makes its connection. And then it would run up the Targa bar and it would go over and go to that light over there on the Targa. So that's why it's so much longer, because it's got to come down, runs along the floor pan, comes up, makes that connection to that one on the driver's side right here, and then it goes over and it makes that one. So it's a lot longer than the coupe one.